Good morning, everybody. So I get asked a lot. I get asked so many different times, like, what does it take to build a seven-figure company? What does it take to make seven figures in a year? What does it take to make $500,000 a year? What does it take to make 8 figures a year or 8 figures overall? And on and on and on. And so I can't speak to the logic of like what it takes to build $100 million company or $1 billion company or $10 billion company because I've never built one. But I have an idea, and I have an idea based on the same logic that it takes to build a seven-figure company and an eight-figure company. I watched this reel the other day and it kind of broke it down very, very well in a way that I never thought about, but it's kind of the logic that I had. I just did not make the connection the way this guy did. I saw this video where it basically describes like in order to create a seven-figure company or an eight-figure company or a nine-figure company, you're going to need certain key people within your organization that are going to help you build that. So usually when you're starting off as an entrepreneur, starting your own business, usually you tend to be a one-person show. Usually is what ends up happening, at least when you're a very early on stage entrepreneur, because you're learning so many different things. There's a lot of mindset things that you haven't quite figured out, at least most people haven't. So usually when you're starting off, you'll notice that when you're starting off on your own, you're building a six-figure company, maybe a seven-figure company by yourself. And usually when you're going towards the path of making $1 million in a year, you start bringing in key people, because by yourself will be a bit harder, but it's definitely possible nowadays with all the different types of technology that's out there, AI and all this. But usually when you're building a seven-figure company, you need key people within the organization that have the skill sets to where with a certain amount of people, meaning 3 to 5 people, you'll be able to build $1 million a year company, right? Because think about it. If you have 3 to 5 people, maybe even 2 people that have the skill sets where if they were to go out and get a job, they would normally make anywhere between 7 to 10K, then realistically, right, if you have a handful of those people put together and being led by the right person, should be able to create $1 million company. And so when you're starting off on your own, usually that is you, right? You usually have the skill set to go out and get a job where you'd be able to make 100K a year, maybe 200K a year if you find the right opportunity. Now, when we start off, we're learning all kinds of things and doing all different types of things within the business because there really isn't anybody else. One of the key things that I've learned as I scaled to generating over 8 figures was that all the key employees that I had within my organization or that worked with me, whether they were an employee or whether they were a contractor or whether they were a partner, I had multiple people along the way that had the skill sets to start and build $1 million company if they wanted to. If they truly wanted to, I can count probably at least 5 people, at least probably more, that if they wanted to, they can go out and build $1 million company. I realized that in order for me to have generated over 8 figures in the business that I was in, at least in online marketing and specifically in the industry that we did, there was key people that if they wanted to, they could have built $1 million company on their own with a couple key people, whether it was in the same industry or a different industry, right? And so what that tells me is that I need to have high-level people that can function at a high level to be able to build an 8-figure company, and they have the skill sets at minimum of a 7-figure earner. What ends up happening is that that's where I came in. I had the vision to be able to connect all these people to be able to generate 8 figures over a multitude of years. I've been thinking for the last several months, I'm like, what would it actually take to build a company like this to 9 figures, or even if I'm not able to take this to 9 figures, right? Maybe my cap in this business is really just 8 figures, right? And so if I wanted to build a 9-figure company, like what's it gonna take? I watched this reel by Cole Gordon. Cole Gordon is one of the best sales coaches that's out there. From what I understand, I think he runs a sales agency where they coach people on how to become closers. They plug closers in and setters in into different offers. It's a very sales-based service business. And this guy is either looking to scale to 9 figures or he's on his way there or he's already there. And so he said, he's like, in order for me to really get there, I need to have a multitude of people in my company that are either 7-figure earners, have earned 7 figures, have the skill sets to earn 7 figures, or are earning 7 figures within my industry, and also a few key people that have earned or have the potential to go out and start a business and generate $10 million plus within their own business. And because when you look at it that way, each of those people have a strong hold and a strong push towards pushing that business towards the specific goal that you're trying to set. Now imagine if I was trying to build a $100 million company with people who have no clue on how to even build $1 million company. Like how difficult would it be if I was the only person that had an idea of how to do that, but everybody that worked with me has never even made over 100K a year, right? They wouldn't even have the mindset or the skills, and this is not 100%, right? There could always be anomalies, but for the most part, it would be very difficult to get to 9 figures if I had 10 people that have never generated or been a part of a $1 million company or helped to be a big piece of it. Whereas opposed, imagine if I had 5 people that have all generated $1 million on their own or within a business, been a big part of an organization that did that. I would much rather have those 5 people than having 10 to 20 six-figure earners. Not because they don't have the potential, not because they wouldn't be able to figure it out, but because it would take up so much energy to be able to train them up to that point, and it would just take way too long, and it might not ever even happen. When you think about it, like Mark Zuckerberg right now, he is going on an AI massive spree right now. Like he is hiring everybody and he's doing everything in his possibility to lead the race of AI, not just in the US, but within the entire world. Like, right, he wants Facebook, he wants Meta to be the best AI company out there. This guy is a savage. Like, you might like him or not like him, like regardless of that, he is a business genius savage. Like, this guy is paying 22 to 28-year-olds 10, 20, $50 million a year as a salary to win the AI race. Now think about this. Mark Zuckerberg's worth like 100 or 200 billion dollars. So paying an employee 10, 20, $50 million is a drop in the bucket. But now think about that. If this guy's trying to take Meta to now being a $10 trillion company, or he's trying to be worth $10 trillion while he's worth 200 billion, he's going to have to have key people. He's going to have a multitude of people. He's going to need a multitude of people that on their own can go out and build billion-dollar companies. All these people that are getting paid 10, 100, $50 million, these are all people that can go out and build a billion-dollar company if they wanted to, right? Because they have the skill sets, they have the mindset, they have the smarts, right? That's probably not the word. That's probably the wrong word. They're intellectually smart enough, is what I should say, to be able to do that. So if he wants to take it to the next level, he's going to need nothing but savages on his team that can go out and build billion and $10 billion companies. And if you combine all those forces, is how he's going to create a $10 trillion company. I think about the same logic here. I'm like, okay, if I want to build a $100 million company, whether it's in the business that I'm in now or in any other business, how can I recruit high talent? How can I recruit talent where these guys or these women, if they wanted to, can go out and build, 8-figure companies? I would need a multitude of people within my company that have the potential or have been part of companies that have gone from the ground up to generate 8 figures in a year, or could generate 8 figures on their own if they led their own team and build the team. By myself, I wouldn't be able to do that, right? With the team that I have today, I don't know if it's possible to get to $100 million. Assuming that this company that I have could get there, I would need to acquire better talent faster so that they can help us get there because they would know what it takes, or train my key people right now that are very smart and very skillful to take it to the next level. It's something that I think about all the time where I'm like, this is pretty interesting. Like, you can look at this in business this way, but it's the same logic everywhere, right? What do professional teams do all the time? Like, I think about the NFL, the NBA. If you want to win a championship, you're going to bring in key people that their stats are either off the charts, their leadership is off the charts, they've either won championships, they've been part of championship teams, whether that's a coach, whether that's a player, whether it's anybody within the industry. And it's the same exact logic in business. I never even thought about that. Like, I did not see that. All I looked at was like, what business can I start in? Am I good enough? I don't need to be good enough, but can I bring in key people and recruit key people that are just as skillful as me, and I can lead them to that vision? And so it's something very interesting that I was thinking about this whole morning, that I don't have quite the answer yet on how I'm going to get there, but I'm starting to put the puzzle together. I'm starting to build the puzzle together that what is it going to take to build a $100 million or $1 billion company? That's where I'm at today. And maybe I'll never do it. I could get to a point in my life where, like, maybe I don't want to work anymore, right? Maybe I'm okay with what I'm building, but if I really wanted to take it to that level, that's what it's going to take. When you look at it from that perspective, it actually seems way easier as opposed to the approach and the way that I used to look at it before. And so I hope that helps somebody or one of you guys. If you're starting a business now or you're trying to take it to the next level, all you're really missing is one key person, maybe 2, maybe 5, depending on where you're at. Things can switch out really, really quickly. All right, guys, I'll catch you guys in the next video.